I think this young lady, and this is the cool thing, like I said, now there's a big established club coming into Boston. We get the cool, new, young, the hot comedians, and this young lady is right there, that unique voice, and I think she's terrific. Let's welcome Gypsy Howling.
How's everybody doing tonight? As you heard, my name is Gypsy Howling Wolf, and I get a lot of questions about that. I am Native American, Jewish, and Irish. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean I have any pubs, accountants, or casino money in my family. Now, I only date interracially, not so much by choice as the fact that the only other Native American, Jewish, Irish guys I know are my brothers, and that's been frowned upon this side of the Old Testament. One thing I really hate is when guys say stupid things and attribute it to their ethnicity. Like, I was dating this one guy a while back, and he says to me, "You know what, honey? I do something other black guys don't do." I was like, "Really? What's that, Charles? Can you levitate? Do you go invisible? Qualify for a mortgage?" What is it, Charles? Because there's nothing less sexy than self-deprecating stereotypes, except maybe bad breath. That's icky too, am I right? Now, I'm a mom. I've had 3 pregnancies in the last 5 years. I did not donate my body to Twinkies, I made people's. And I got into comedy because I heard there were open mics every night of the week. I figured if I could get in on that every night, I'd never have to do bedtime again. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my kids, but if I have to read Goodnight Moon even one more time, I'm gonna lose it. And so having a lot of pregnancies means you see a lot of doctors, right? And my middle girl was born in Canada, and socialized medicine being what it is, you have to see a different doctor at the clinic every time. And they go through this whole boring history. You know, what's your family background, blah, blah, blah. And I was so bored the last time I figured I'd have fun with the guy. So when he gets to the question, do you have a family history of drug or alcohol issues? I looked at him and said, well, my mom is an Indian and my dad is an Irishman. Then I waited in the uncomfortable silence for him to draw the inevitable racist conclusion. He goes, so that's a yes? I was like, oh my God, no! How racist! How could you say that? Well, who's in charge of this clinic? I'm gonna have your license. And just when he looked like he was ready to cry, I'm kidding, Doc, they're both wicked drunks. Totally right the first time. I'm divorced. Anybody else here divorced? Old enough to even be married? You guys are still just dating? Don't bring me down, lady, and talk about the end game. It's okay. Love lasts forever. That's why. I'm divorced. And my ex-husband's name is Sunshine Peacechild because he was born in the 60s and his parents are assholes. And when you have a name like that, you have a lot of things to live up to. So he's one of those heavily tattooed guys. He has a lot of tattoos on his face and his neck. And when I'd have his picture on my desk at work, people would say, wow, he kind of looks like a criminal. That looks more like a picture you'd have up at the post office. That's offensive. He's not a criminal. He's not even on probation anymore. That's not a nice stereotype. And so being divorced has been a kind of big change for me. And I realized I was late for my annual exam. How many of you ladies have had your annual exam recently? Okay, then this has been a public service announcement. Get to that. It's called annual for a reason. So I'm there at that uncomfortable point where your feet are in the stirrups and you're mid-speculum insertion. And I'm looking at the picture of Cozumel she has on the ceiling trying to go to my happy place. And she's like, so how's your husband? I'm like, oh, I updated the file. You didn't see that? I'm divorced. And she's like, I am so sorry. Do you need a hug? I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. No, I'm good. So she continues the exam, and towards the end she goes, so I'm gonna need to do an STD screen, right? Because you're single, you know, you're in your 30s, you're a sexual peak, you're out there meeting people. I'm like, no, we're good. And she's like, well, you can't ever be too safe. It's safer, not safe. You're going to want to screen, and we have to talk about birth control. I'm like, we don't. Totally good. And she's like, no, seriously. I'm like, look, I'm good. And I'd always thought there'd be nothing more embarrassing than when my mother dragged me at 15 to Dr. Goldberg, my childhood pediatrician, and made me admit I was having sex so I could get on the pill. I was wrong. It is more humiliating to be over 30 and have to admit to your doctor that you're not having sex. That's exponentially more painful. Thank you, I'm Gypsy Howling, and that's my time.
Thank you so much. There is the fact that I am over 50 and married, so I'm not having sex. How you doing? Do you want to introduce the next comedian?